On the northern side of the Isle of Dorn is an island named the Three Shields. On the south side there is a cave with elementals, but on the north side is another cave. On the outside an earthen named Ulberig stares at a nearby island. Within the cave we find two journals. It tells the tale of an earthen exiled here away from the rookery. Here the elemental cloud rooks reside untamed, far away from the storm rooks of the rookery. Or they used to. The two journals are named Personal Journal and Field Journal. It is very hard to determine which journal comes first, and they were very likely written concurrently. But we only have access to certain entries. Because entries are the only sort of dating method used, it is what I will use as a chronological marker as I read them. Personal Journal Entry 1. Entry 1. It is done. We are done. I served an ultimatum. I broke all bonds, and I've lost the two most important friends I've ever known. I can forgive Halsey for leaving. It was never her choice to begin with, though part of me had wished she might stay. Deep down I knew she coveted freedom, and so I am saddened but not surprised. I wish I could say the same for him. I thought he would have reacted differently. I thought he would choose me, and together we would find another way. I was wrong. Field Journal, Entry 1. The Cloud Rooks seem to have chosen the Three Shields as their sanctuary, and so it shall be mine. Like nesting seabirds, they appear to favor the isles for their safety. Though they fashion no nest and lay no eggs, they are still vulnerable to predators, as they lack the tenacity and fortitude of the Stormrook cousins. The cave on the south side of the central shield appears to be their den. I have found one of my own on the northern side of the island, where I believe I can observe them without disrupting their inherent behaviors. It has added the benefit of putting my past behind me. There is only open ocean and sky before me. Entry 72. The nights with clear skies are hardest. Though every flash of lightning or rumble of thunder can be a painful reminder of what I've lost, it is also a reminder that those I've lost still live, they fly. On nights like tonight, the emptiness of the sea and sky before me weigh heavily on my heart. It hurts. Never have I thought I would miss the work of that damnable machine, but it never lets such sensations take root. Did the Titans have such foresight? Did they know we would otherwise seek oblivion? Would I have been better off if the machine had just done its job? Field Journal Entry 342. Unlike normal birds, the cloud rooks do not need to eat or drink. As elementals, they draw their energy from some other source, which still eludes me. And yet, I have just this morning observed the cloud rooks diving down to the ocean's surface and snapping their beaks at the waves. One even made off with a fish of some sort, though I cannot say what became of it. Have they been observing the gulls and falcons as they hunt? Is this a form of mimicry? What use does an elemental have of fish? Then again, the stormrooks never needed to eat either, but they came to adore the moss grown over the Rambleshire. Field Journal Entry 617. The cloudrooks have fallen into clear patterns of behavior which I now believe I can rely upon. Every morning at sunrise and again at dusk they hunt. During those spans of time their den is empty, as I have this day confirmed. At the risk of tainting my study, I ventured into their cave while they were out to see what I could learn. There were bones, fish bones to be precise, and to be more precise, I believe them to be the remains of eels exclusively. I brought back samples to better study and confirm my suspicions. I also noted a steady current of air in the cave, with no clear source. I'm left to wonder if the mere presence of the cloud rooks has imbued the place with their elemental essence. Personal Journal, Entry 781. I ran into an old acquaintance today. It seems Harmont never got the news of my exile. More likely, he just doesn't care. He came to see the wild rooks. He is a scholar of the elements. But on the subject of the cloud rooks, he found me to be an expert. We spoke for hours. It was the first time I've heard my own voice in Titans know how long. To think I once dreaded his visits to Stormwatch, where he piled us with questions about the storm rooks. Now I am sad to see him go, but he said he would return to see how my observations progress. I will look forward to it. Field Journal Entry 1975. I have crossed the line, but I cannot help myself. Knowing that the cloud rooks are partial to the electric eels in these waters, I've begun fishing them up and making offerings at the mouths of the rook's den. It is my understanding that some predatory birds insist on only eating prey that they kill themselves, but this is not the case with the cloud rooks. They would appear to be equally comfortable as scavengers. In this case, though little scavenging is necessary with the lonely old earthen serves up as dinner on a platter at one's doorstep. Have I been out here too long? Have I grown too attached? Personal Journal entry 2042. I saw a storm rook corkscrew through the sky this morning. She had no rider, and so I thought for a moment it might be Free Halsey. Then I remembered Free Halsey returned to Skywall the moment her bindings fell off her forelegs, and there would be no coming back unless he brought her back. I don't know that he would have such control to pull Free Halsey back specifically, and in my heart I don't believe him to be so spiteful as to do so. I truly hope our time free of the machine has made him reconsider his ways. Most days I wake hoping to find him sitting on a rock outside my cave, waiting for me to rise, ready to forgive my brashness and to apologize for his own obstinance. Field Journal entry 81,216. Something has happened today. Other elementals have erupted from the earth and risen from the sea. I know not what has caused this disturbance, but they have driven the cloud rooks from their den. Worse, one of the rooks was unable to escape. I arrived just in time to witness it dissipate into nothingness. I've seen storm rooks discorporate in battle, but this is the first time I've seen a cloud rook meet the same fate. They are such gentle creatures, making this feel different. And now the other cloud rooks circle above the neighboring island, seemingly unwilling to land. Personal Journal entry 171,123. There was an explosion from the direction of the meteor, not an uncommon occurrence, but this was 100-fold louder than any previous mishap. I rounded the island and could see great plumes of smoke rising from the south. I don't know why this is affecting me so. I have this sense that something is not right. Not since the early days of my exile have I felt this way. But this sense of loss is inexplicable. I need to know more. But I don't dare return to the mainland. I've been gone from that world far too long. Assuming that the last entries of both are written near to each other, I assume that the crash of Dalaran is what led to the cloud rooks migrating and the earth elementals emerging in their former nest within the cave. I think Olberg would have written more entries, but we find him observing the cloud rooks in a nearby island, and his quest text seems to confirm this. Returning outside to speak to Olberg, he says, "You see that flock in the distance? Wild cloud rooks. They've lived on these islands peacefully for ages, but recent events have stirred other elementals from the cave and sea. One of the cloud rooks was attacked, and it was disincorporated. Now the flock circles endlessly. Surely they will tire soon. If they get too tired, perhaps if we cleared the hostile elementals from the island, they will return and take their rest." Clearing out the elementals does not resolve the cloud rook issue, according to Olberg, who thinks they are in an extended state of mourning, so we must try something else. In Olberg's notes, he observed they were eating the eels and that he had been feeding them, and in the follow-up quest we find Olberg has been intentionally fishing up the eels and feeding them personally, confirming that Olberg is the writer of the notes. We learn that the cloud rooks are not simply mourning the loss of their kin, but rather evoking them from the elemental plane back to here, essentially retrieving them. The fallout of Dalaran is widespread and of extreme detriment to the environment of Khazlogar and its subterranean zones. Around the land, herbalists might find irradiated nodes, which will knock them back after harvesting and give the valuable leyline residue. And in Hollowfall, we encounter a mage studying the fallout effects from Dalaran's destruction. Its arcane taint can be observed even in the depths here further down than the ringing deeps. The mage has a story of their own that might deserve another video, but for this one, the important part is the crabs. The crabs blink or shimmer around uncontrollably, and their organs are magically infused in a way that is unstable. I would say they also suffer from the same radiation sickness as the herbs, or at least that it is the same in origin and volatility. When we tell the mage about the crash, he says that the magical residue would have gotten into the water and trickled down from above, but we learn no more from him because the Cult of Night would assassinate him before he could conclude his research into teleportation magic. At the Dalaran crash site, there are 3 rares that can spawn. Karik is an Arakoa from Draenor that uses shadow magic. Another is what I assume is a scourge abomination called Rotfist, but most curiously is an ethereal agent named Zovex. Zovex may have been a partner of the Violet Hold boss, Zevaz, but this is speculation. Zovex drops a number of items, but they drop an item that has piqued my curiosity since Season 1, and I think is a very nice touch by the WoW development team, is a junk item called Entropic Crystal. Few NPCs share this item, but one was Riftwalker Nalara from Dragonflight, and the others are from the ethereal occupied areas of Argus. It opens into two items, Void Rune and Void Sliver. The crystal's flavor text reads, urgency seeps into your mind to set whatever is inside free, and the Void Rune reads, a sense of doom washes over you just by holding it. These three are not the only escapees of the Violet Hold. Within the depths of ajhkahet, hidden tucked away within a cave hidden behind a waterfall, is the Violet Hold boss, Zeramat the Obliterator. At the end of Season 1, we got a quest to help the Kirin Tor. One of them is of particular note, because with Jaina we learned that imitation mana bombs were being researched and covertly developed by the Kirin Tor. While Dalaran had crashed into the island, these bombs somehow were magically transported into the depths of ajhkahet, where they radiate a terrible glow and imminent destruction looms ahead of us. We scramble to destroy the research notes and disable the bombs with extreme care. Many of the creatures that raise to fight us are also irradiated. The fall of Dalaran has had a catastrophic toll on the land, and created unstable magical energies that have contaminated plant and animal life, and let loose innumerable creatures once bound in the arcane prisons of the Violet Hold. It is the Chernobyl event. It is the fallout of Dalaran.